if someone's to ask you what the mood is at West Ham at the moment, I'll just say, look out the window. That's pretty much how things are in East London at the moment. It is really miserable, isn't it? Really miserable day. My word. It's not stopped raining. Really has been awful. And just like, that end of the world, it's that grey. It's like just black and white. It's just no colour. It's just, a bit depressing, as I say, kind of epitomise exactly where things are at the moment at West Ham. But, I don't want to be doom and gloom. I want us to try and be as positive as I possibly can. I was going to do a video solely talking about Lucas Paqueta and the injury situation and the ridiculous sort of pressure that we're putting on the player and his return. And I am going to do that, talk about that in a second. But I wanted to do a little bit of a combination because there's been a little bit of news come out in the press regarding Dominic Solanke, that West Ham are now linked with. The Telegraph are running a story, but very credible and etc., suggesting that West Ham are going to make an offer for Solanke. He's going to be our top target this summer. I just want to put my opinion on this, and I could be way off. Who knows? I mean, this is just my view on it. As much as I really admire Solanke, and I would be very happy with that signing, he's proven to be a very good player. I mean, I feel like he's kind of coming to his own now. It feels like he's hit his stride, which we've all been sort of waiting to see for quite some time with that player. Obviously, been at Liverpool, at Chelsea, wasn't it, and other places. So he's been waiting for him to sort of hit the ground and get going. But the move to Bournemouth has been really good for him, and he's just he's in very good form and a great player. I've got absolutely no problem with West Ham being linked with Solanke, and I certainly won't have any problem with West Ham signing Solanke. I just don't believe it. Like, I just don't see it happening. Do you know what I mean? It's one of those I'm struggling to get any kind of excitement over. Someone asked me today about it and was kind of quite excited and said to me, "Oh, you've seen this? How brilliant would that signing be?" I can't match that enthusiasm at the moment, and it might be partly to do with the current situation. Do you know what I mean? When things aren't going so well, it's hard to sort of get yourself up and excited for things about regarding West Ham. But I get that, but also it's because there's just too much uncertainty at the club. We don't even know who the manager's going to be. We don't even know if Tim Steidten's going to be here. We don't know if we're going to be in Europe. We don't know anything. Okay, so that's a major factor. So I can't see how we can be going, that's our top target for the summer. That's who we're going to try and get. Well, how are we going to sell him the club? And we don't even know for a start where we're going to be. And it's a tough sell, isn't it? Let's be honest. I mean, there's got to be a few players looking in and thinking, well, if you're Dominic Solanke, for instance, are you looking at West Ham going, that's the place I want to be next season? That is the club I want to be at. Well, he don't even know who's going to be the manager. So he doesn't know what West Ham can offer him. I do struggle with it. And bearing in mind, this is a player that we've been linked with previously. We tried to bid for. Well, I think, we bid for, didn't we, previously? I think £40 million. I think it was last January, if I remember rightly. £40 million. It was rejected. So if we can't get him, then when are we going to get? How are we going to get him now when his stock's high? It's just something I just don't see happening. I really don't. I think there are far too many things on the list at the moment at West Ham to get through before we can start talking about transfer targets for the summer. I really do. There's bigger things in the list, and we know that. And the big one is obviously the manager and his future. We've talked about it quite a fair bit. I don't want to talk too much more about that at this stage because there isn't really much more to talk about at the moment. There'll be a David Moyes press conference ahead of Monday night, which will be interesting. I think it'd be quite interesting to see what's said. I think there's a lot of scrutiny on Moyes at the moment, a lot of pressure on him. Certainly every West Ham fan, well, certainly for me anyway, I have to do this because of the work I do for the West Ham way, of course, but I'm sure you'll be joining me in the same, and I want to see what he's got to say. I want to start seeing some interesting questions put his way. I think he's getting a bit of a soft ride at the moment from the old press. I don't know why. I don't know why he's so protected. I'm still scratching my head to understand why that is the case. Do you know what I mean? Like, when you think of, say, for instance, right, Ten Hag, Man United, just picture him. When they lose a couple of games or things are not going so well, when you had the situation with Marcus Rashford early in the season, he gets absolutely grilled on these, and they really put him to the task, and he has to sort of defend himself, and they will challenge him on certain things. It just feels like David Moyes gets a sort of, I don't know why, but it's sort of free pass. It's almost like the questions are quite soft. And, when you consider the Forest game and this form that we're in and the situation that we're finding ourselves in at the moment, the pressure the manager's under, it does feel like he doesn't really get pushed too difficult. The questions are quite soft on him. I want to see a bit more. And I want to see how he's going to, what the message is going to send to the fans, because the message we're getting so far haven't been great, in my opinion. I don't quite like it. So it will be interesting. But back to Solanke. As I say, I'm pleased with the link. I'm pleased at the fact that a player of that caliber is being linked with West Ham, and I do like the fact that where it's come from as well. This is on the backstage page, of the Star, you know what I mean, or the Sunday Sport, saying, West Ham in for him. It's not a lazy article. It's a well written article to suggest that this is the case, that West Ham have made him a top priority target this summer. If that's the case, and that's the way we want to go. In terms of bringing in a striker, I've got no problem with Dominic Solanke at all. I think that would be a great upgrade. But I just don't see it at the moment. I really don't. One, we're not going to get a free run at him. Let's be honest. One, Bournemouth aren't going to bloody want to sell him. I can't see that being the case. The player may fancy a change now, and I can kind of understand that. And that's no disrespect to Bournemouth. I really like Bournemouth. I've got a big soft spot for that club because of that's where our missus is from. So I know Bournemouth really well. But I just don't see any other clubs not coming in for him. Do you know what I mean? I'm sure there's clubs that can offer more, and probably clubs that are a bit more stable can offer him a route there. As I say, let's wait and see how it pans out. I'm pleased with it in terms of the caliber of player, but I just don't. I can't see how that we can start identifying who our top targets are at the moment. It just doesn't seem correct when we don't even know what's going on. We don't even have Tim Steidten's going to be here. He's supposed to be linked with Liverpool. It just seems a little bit too early to be getting any kind of excitement about what we're going to be doing this summer. There's far too much to go on this season at the moment, and we don't know the futures of our manager, etc. So, yeah, it's one that I like, but I'm just sort of like, no, that's good. That's as excited as I can get. You know what I mean? Yeah, okay, good one, nice. Pleased to hear that, but that's about as far as I think it is at the moment for me, in terms of Dominic Solanke to West Ham. But look, it could gain some legs, and maybe something will come from it. Who knows? And we could be seeing him at West Ham next season. That'd be great. But it's crazy, isn't it, to think that we are talking about replacing a striker that left in the summer. Do you know what I mean? And bearing in mind that Scamacca was the replacement for Haller, and it took a year to get that one done. It's almost like we've been trying to replace Haller for 2 years now. Do you know what I mean? It is absolutely pathetic. It really is how we've handled the striker situation. It's laughable, really. I don't know. I just find it a little. When it comes to West Ham and strikers, it's quite an exhausting one, isn't it? It's almost like you just sort of sigh and go, "Oh God, really? Who are we linked with now?" Because we never get the player we want. We never ever seem to get our top target. So that makes me laugh. Even when they say West Ham have made Solanke a top target, you also go, well, we might as well write that off then, because we never get our top target. We never ever get the player we really want. We always have to go second best. Even when you consider players like even Paqueta. Paqueta was never a first choice player for us. Oh, don't get me wrong. I'm glad we've got Paqueta. He was never a first choice signing for West Ham ever. It really is. It really does. I find it so frustrating how this club operates. It's just, we never seem to identify the exact player we want to go absolutely at length to get them. Among the Broja, you know what I mean? A couple of seasons ago, a couple of summers, wasn't it? Maybe even a summer ago, was our top target, our top choice. It was someone we got, Scamacca, wasn't it? He was our top target. We're going to get Broja. That's the one we want. We spent all summer going for him. We really wanted him. Couldn't get him. Went for Scamacca. We never quite get these deals over the line. So, yeah, I do struggle to get the excitement when it comes to West Ham and top targets, and especially when it's a striker. But look, as I say, it could be great news, and it could mean West Ham are going to get a player that's Premier League experienced, England, and all these kind of things that you can see from Solanke. Go, wow, highly sought after player, and could be coming to West Ham with a potential scoring 20, 30 goals a season, possibly. But I'll believe that when I see it. That one, I think that's what I'm going to say about that. Lucas Paqueta now. Don't have, as I record this, don't have a real concrete update in terms of his availability for the Brentford game. That to me suggests that he's probably not going to be available. I could be completely wrong. We did have it down that he was getting closer to fitness. Clara and Hugh have put up an update. I believe it's from Claret & Hugh. I might be wrong there, but I think it's Claret & Hugh that have suggested that he's going to be out for another 2 to 3 weeks. As I recall, I just don't know that for sure. As I say beforehand, we sort of thought that he was getting closer. So I really do hope he is going to be available for Brentford. I am going to say though, right, in regards to this whole Paqueta thing, it's ridiculous, absolutely mental that we are in a position where we are so reliant on one player to return. Like, absolutely so, like, we are literally, David Moyes even said it, like, well, we haven't had Paqueta, you know, we can't score. It's almost like we can't score a goal, we can't win a game until Paqueta's back on the pitch. Don't get me wrong, Paqueta's a great player. I understand he gives you that creative outlet. Why have we not got this sorted out? Like, how can you be in a position where you're absolutely reliant on a player to win your games? It's just on one player. You know, well, we just had January. Why don't you bring someone else in? I'm not saying go and get another Paqueta, all right? Someone said that to me before. Well, yeah, we're going to go get another Lucas Paqueta. No, but go and get another creative midfielder in. Go and get someone in that can fill the gap. Or if you, or bring in an academy player at least that can just fill that shoe just for a little while and say, look, go in. Just we understand it's going to be a big step up, but look, just something can fill the gap. Well, you haven't got anyone. They don't use anyone. It's ridiculous. And there was a debate on the West Ham Way podcast between Dave and X on Patreon earlier this week, and they talked about this. And I sort of actually disagree with what was said by X, actually, because X was saying about, well, other clubs have the same thing. If you took their best players out, they'd struggle. Correct, but we're not talking about a whole few players here. We're talking about one player. If Arsenal lost Saka, do you know what I mean? They wouldn't go, well, that's it then. We're knackered. We can't win a game. We're going to lose now the next few games. We can't win any matches until Saka comes up on the pitch. It might hamper them slightly. It might knock them slightly out of their performance levels. Might drop, let's say from, let's say call it 100% if everyone's fit. They might drop to 95 or 90 if they lose a key player, but they'd still be able to get results. You say that for every team. You say, Tottenham, if they lost Son, yeah, it'd be a blow to them, but they could still carry on. But West Ham, no. If we lose Paqueta, that's it. We're absolutely crippled. And you've got to suggest that it's putting on a lot of pressure, isn't it, on the player? A lot of pressure on Paqueta. Unnecessarily so, and probably unfairly so on the player, because he's probably thinking, well, now you're saying, now I'm back, we go and win games. And also, here's the question as well. What happens if it doesn't? So what happens if Paqueta comes back for Brentford and we lose 3-0? And we play badly? Then what? Do you know what I mean? It really is a bizarre situation we're finding ourselves in, and one I don't like. And I don't like the fact that our manager's actually come out and suggested that this was a big problem. Not having Paqueta available is a big problem. I just don't like it. I really don't like that. If it was, say, 3 or 4 key players, if you said, Bowen, Paqueta, Kudus, Alvarez, and all that are out, this is why we're suffering. You go, yeah, fair play. I mean, that's a whole team, half your team there of absolute quality you're losing. We're not out of those players. We've got Kudus who's absolutely, he's fit. He's supposed to be, well, we know he is a fantastic player. We've got Jared Bowen, who's supposed to be challenging to get into the European, the squads for the Euros with England this summer. Alvarez, highly regarded, as I've said. You've got top players. James Ward-Prowse, again, supposed to be knocking on the door, wasn't he, for England squad? Got all these players available. And you're telling me, well, none of this can work now without Paqueta. It's a bad position to be in. It doesn't look good on the club, is my point. It's not a good look. You've just had January and you didn't address it. And now you're coming back and saying now, we can't win a game. We can't score a goal because we ain't got this one man. It's really poor and really frustrating. And I don't like it. Don't like it at all. Don't like that. And the fact it puts a lot of pressure on the player. A player, by the way, who was probably going to lose in this summer, by the way. So good luck with that one. Really, really annoying. I'm not happy about it, but it is what it is. As I say, we don't know the situation though with Paqueta. We don't know exactly as of yet. I'm really hoping we get a decent update on it. I've actually sent the message before doing this video. I should have done that earlier to ask, if where we are with Paqueta. Yeah. So. The only update we've heard really is sort of the Claret & Hugh, Sean Whetstone route, which is it's going to be a few weeks for Paqueta, but we've had no verification of that. We had heard a little while ago that he was progressing well, so I'm really hoping that's not actually the case. It'd be a big blow. Let's make no mistake, it would be a big blow. It's something's got to change, isn't it? Something's got to give at West Ham. We need something. Because I tell you what, got a big game coming up Monday night, Brentford. it's a big game, big game. You feel with David Moyes, the pressure he's under. And it's not just the result. I mean, the result's obviously very important. It's the performance. We've got to see a better performance from West Ham. Got to start seeing some fight with or without Paqueta. I don't want to keep hearing about that. Yeah, well, we can't do anything about Paqueta. That's not good enough. These players need to step up now. The manager needs to step up. It's a big week coming up for us. And of course, we've got the draw as well for the Europa League. That's going to be interesting. Quite excited about that. But it's, hard to sort of imagine us doing well at the moment, isn't it, in the Europa League? It really is. It's hard, but the way things are, it's really difficult to see any kind of sort of route to success at the moment this season. It really does. It feels like we're on a bit of a slide. But look, it could all change. A big result against Brentford, a good performance, and everything could feel very different very quickly. And Moyes has got to achieve it. He is. I mean, I've talked about David Moyes and my feelings on his position overall, but just focusing on this season, man, I still want West Ham to do well. I really do. I want to see us achieve things. I want to see David Moyes get this team clicking because it's such an important season for us. We want to do well in obviously the Europa League, but we want to finish in those European places. We want European football again. It's got to start against Brentford with or without Lucas Paqueta.